Hey creatives, welcome back to my channel. My name's Michelle and I am on a journey to get back into art after probably about 30 years of not really consciously doing art. So I started this channel to kind of document my journey and what I'm doing and how I'm getting there. Today I'm going to do kind of, I guess, sketchbook tours of what I've done so far in the last 3 months since I started. I have some sketchbooks that I can show you. It's taken me a while to make this video only because I think it's such a vulnerable thing for artists, and I think for everybody to show your work when you feel like it's not good or you're not skilled or you don't know what you're doing. And it's part of my process too to get out of my comfort zone and do things that are scary and uncomfortable, such as making YouTube videos. It's very uncomfortable. But I'm doing it, so I want to be kind of an inspiration to other people to say that you can do hard things that you don't think you can do, like making YouTube videos and posting them and doing art in your 50s after not doing it for so long. I don't know what media I want to use. I don't know what my style is. I don't know what I'm good at. And so I'm trying all the things that speak to me. I'm trying everything that I find interesting, that I see other artists, what they're doing, and I'm like, I want to try that. I want to try that. So I'm doing these things, and I want to bring you along for the ride to show you what it is I'm doing. I'm also documenting this more for myself to look back on in a few years to see like where I started from, because I think it's important to acknowledge where you start from and all the feelings that you have at the beginning, and then to watch as you can, grow and get better and gain skills and gain confidence. And I don't know where I'm going to end up. I do know that I would like to be a full-time artist in some capacity. I've always been entrepreneurial and I've always wanted to have my own business. I've started many over the years, but none of them really stuck. And I finally, realized that I just want to be an artist. That's what when I was a kid, I was an artist, and that's what I want to be now. And I've put it off for all these years, and now it's time to actually, dive in and explore and see what that means. And so I will take you along and I will talk to you about all of my things I'm trying out, all the information I have. I'll be talking about different types of art businesses. How can you make money through art? I'll talk about different entrepreneurial things for creatives, because it's really a passion of mine that there's so many creatives out there that can make a living from their talents and their skills and their creativity. And a lot of people just don't know how to do it, or they don't have the business skills to tie in with it. And I do want to help people with that as well. But I also want to show others how I'm doing it, so I can be an example of that is possible. And I can share my trials and tribulations along the way. So I'm going to show you all my bad art right now, because that's the only way you can get started, is to make bad art. And some of it I think is bad, some of it I think is okay. And I think, considering that I'm literally just starting from scratch again, I'm pleased with most of it, especially more recently in the last few weeks. I feel like I've been doing some things that I really enjoy doing. So I'm going to show you everything I've done basically in my first, say, 3 months of getting back into art. And maybe it's cringy, maybe you find it interesting. Maybe you feel better that your art is way better than what I'm doing right now, or maybe I'll give you some inspiration to keep trying and practicing, and maybe you want to try what I'm doing too. So with that said, let's get into my sketchbooks. So here's just two sketchbooks that I've done some pencil sketches in. Just Montmartre sketching diary, A4, 110 GSM. So these I used references from Pinterest and decided to see what I could handle just doing pencil drawings. So I thought I'd grab a few faces and even a full body. I like doing fashion sketches. I went to fashion design and visual merchandising for college, which was the last time I really did art. And I did do some fashion illustration back then, which I really enjoyed doing. And that was kind of the last time that I did anything really artistic. I mean, I've been crafty my whole life, and I've done craft projects, and I've sewed and things, but I haven't really done art for like projects or work or, you know, in any major way. So here's me. I wasn't, you know, they didn't turn out too bad. I was like, okay, I can still do this. And here's me trying to figure out different stylized ways of doing birds. Because one of the things I'm really challenging myself is to do more abstract and expressionistic artwork, because I always used to do very realistic art, very detailed and realistic stuff. Not that it was great, but that's more what I was inclined to do. So here's me trying to do different kind of shapes for birds that are a little more stylized, that I could do with some really nice color designs maybe. That was just a rough sketch for an idea that I had, something kind of flowy and, you know, with the sun, whatever. This was a painting that I ended up finishing in gouache, and also brought it into Procreate. I don't even know if you can see all that, but brought it into Procreate to finish it off too. So that was my initial sketch for it, which I then transferred. So I didn't use this book for too much more. Oh, a little wolf I was doing for something else. And then these were some thumbnails that I had some ideas for some posters that I wanted to do. It was take me where the wild things are, and ocean air and salty hair. So those were some poster ideas that I had that I just jot them down so that sometime later in the future I could maybe do something with that. And here I was trying to do some little character sketches, just something cute, that if I wanted to do more, I guess, like storybook illustration, or just have some fun characters to illustrate for different purposes, that I was trying to create some kind of character. I love foxes, they're my favorite. I know foxes are everywhere, and I'm trying to do it not like what other people are doing. I don't want to copy anybody, but I'm trying to do like what's a style that I could do. So I tried using like a simple circle, and then what can I do with that same shape but make it into different animals, so that it was like an easy look to draw, but I could incorporate it into the different animals and make them all kind of cohesive. So that's what I was trying to do there. This one, actually this is from last year as well. Hopefully, I was trying to do some more pencil sketching. I was frustrated with this one, but I liked how that one turned out. And I didn't like that one, but those were from last year when I was trying again to get back into just making myself draw for like 10 minutes a day. And that was just drawing exercises where you are working on getting your hands and arms just back into like the muscle memory of drawing. So yeah, just trying a little like shading and faces and cartoons. My dog. Trying to do faces again, which I'm not good at faces. Like, I struggle with faces. I find them hard. I can sometimes do them. Like, this one's not so bad, but then half the time I'm like, what even did I create, these monsters? So I'm not great at portraits or faces. That's not my thing. And then, so this is, now we're up to July. Actually, when did I do this page? That was last year as well. And then this brings us up to July. Oh no, that was last year. I can't even believe that. Time flies. I was trying some fashion illustrations. So I was just using Pinterest references of different poses of like kind of streetwear outfit of the day kind of thing. And then I was trying to just do quick, like literally quick 5-minute sketches of fashion figures. More sketches. This is from this year now in January, of my fig tree. Some more faces. A little thing on my desk with like pencils in it. Mugs. So again, just the practicing of putting pen to paper, pencil to paper. Another thumbnail that I did quickly of an idea I had for a set of 3 paintings of basically like faceless women in different colorways that I wanted to draw. I did do this one in my small mixed media book, so I'll show you that one later. It's more like moody blues and grays. And then this one, I had an idea to do a woman with like a reddish hair and this beautiful teal green like wrap or shawl or dress. I wanted to do them in like a nice loose kind of abstract watercolor. And then this was like a blonde woman with this beautiful like burgundy wrap and lots of like light white and yellow flowers with pale pinks. So these are just ideas I have for doing art down the road. Whether I do them or not, who knows, but I had to put it down while it was in my mind. And that was just me trying to do icons of France. I love Paris and France, never been, but I'm kind of obsessed with it. Maybe one day I will get there. So yeah. And then this was the last page that I worked on in here, and I was working on some more fashion sketches. That's some quick like full figure people. This was the first one I was doing, and I don't know, I guess I was obsessed with girls in hats during this was just a couple weeks ago, and I wanted to do some really good illustrations of these. And I like this girl with her, she does have, I think, a bathing suit on. She's not like no pants but she's in rubber boots and a big shirt, so I might make this one into a drawing at some point. And then this is one that I also illustrated in the book, my small one that you'll see, and this is from me painting it. And this is what I used as like I was using watercolor pencil crayons, the Derwent Inktense, and so this is me trying out the different colors on the pencils on there while I was working on that. So that's it for my sketchbooks. Okay, so we're moving on to my mixed media sketchbooks. Now this one I've already showed in a previous video. I did how I got started with gouache. So the first section of this book I'm not going to show you because it was already shown in that video if you want to go back and check that out. It is an Arteza watercolor book. It's a heavyweight 9 by 12 inches, 140 pound page book, and I actually really love this book, and I have one more that I'm going to start on next. I had bought a 2-pack, and I really enjoy this because the pages barely buckle at all no matter how much water I use on it. So again, I had just started with the gouache, which I showed in a different video, so I'm not going to go with that. You can go check that out. And I think I had ended the gouache video with this. This was another, I think the reference I did get off Pinterest. It's just an old like antique door. Again, I believe I used the cheap watercolors. Actually, I might have used my gouache set, my HIMI jelly gouache I might have used for this, like very watered down. Here's just me trying to be abstract. It looks so crazy, but I've seen a lot of people who do like, I'm kind of obsessed actually, people that do like abstract, like large abstract canvases. I have such a hard time with doing abstract. It is the most challenging thing for me, and I don't know why I can't do it. It never looks good, it never looks balanced, or it just looks like this, like frantic mess of craziness. And there's like pastel in here, there's acrylics, there's gel pens and acrylic pens on top. But it's a big jumbled mess of me just doing mark making, basically. All part of the process of being creative, and you can't be mad about that. So again, doing the same thing. This was one, I believe I did just a watercolor wash with, I think the cheap, it's very chalky, so I think it's the cheap watercolor palette that I had. I was trying to do just like a wash of watercolor and then let it dry, and then came in with like different jelly pens and Sharpies, and doing some mark making over top and like acrylic pens. and just being, again, letting the abstract expression flow and making some marks and just having fun. These ones were fun. I was inspired by, it might be Laura Horn art, if I do remember, who does really interesting, like drops ink or watercolor shapes down and then goes over it with other media like ink pens and gel pens and acrylic paint pens and pastels and whatever. And I really enjoyed this exercise. So I did 3 of these where I put the color down first. I believe I might have used the acrylic inks for this, which I just got and was trying out. I think it is the acrylic ink, where I made some drops of that on wet paper. And then I came in with just my micron pens and some jelly rolls, gel pens. What are they called? The Uniball ones. And some like acrylic pens as well. And I just had fun creating the designs over top. It was very therapeutic and I really enjoyed doing that. Yeah, for fun. I think that's something that anybody can do of any art level. You don't have to be really great. It's just mark making and using your imagination. So there's one of those. Here's another example with some darker colors. And I do really love the way that these inks dry and like work with each other. And like the fun part is taking what shapes come up and using those as a guide to what your shapes turn out to be that you're drawing over top. So that was very fun. And this was just another example where I actually did, a set of 6, like similar but different. So I used the circles around them all and I used little dots in them all. And this was all one like black, I think it was a black ink, but it had like a pearlescent, it had brown and black in it. So it was very interesting, but just something fun to do. This was actually leftover paint that I had on a palette from making, I believe, one of my canvases, and I didn't want it to go to waste and dry out, so I literally just took the paint and made some like random flower shapes and a little vase. And when that was dry, I came back in with some colored Sharpies and I just added the marks over top, and I think it actually looks kind of cool for abstract flowers. It doesn't have to be precious. It can just be an experiment and let's see what happens. And literally no one ever has to see this. I mean, I'm showing it to you now here on YouTube, but that's just part of my process. You don't have to show yours to anybody. It can just be a beautiful mess that only for your eyes only. Who knows? Again, another attempt at doing abstract with mark making. I need to get better at making notations about what I used because I can't remember. But I did go back in again with oil pastels, my acrylic pens, some Sharpies, some gel pens, and had fun just doing simple mark making. I love some of these. Like some of these are very simple and fun. Like I love the roses and the little crisscrosses, and I love the little dots and just how that turns out. And this could be something that you end up cutting it up into, say, like 6 or 8 small pieces, and you use them as little art cards or bookmarks or something. And that could be a really interesting thing to do. But that was fun. I didn't mind it. This was, I guess I could show it this way. If you can see it. The last gouache that I did with my learn to use gouache book that I did another video on. So that was the last one that I did. And then on this side I came back later because I just needed a small space, and I did this quick little watercolor. No, it was gouache. Gosh, see, I'm terrible. I believe this was a gouache that I was using, and I just did a quick little study, and I actually really, really love how this one turned out, even though it's tiny. I just like the quick study and trying not to think too much about it. But I think it's just a really pretty little example of what you can create simply, you know. And then I was trying to do a really pretty moth, but the colors in the picture looked great, but when I was doing it in real life, I'm like, I don't really love this color combo. It's kind of like tiger colors, but it's a moth. But it was interesting to do. I did this with gouache. So I think it was with my jelly gouache. But getting the fine details was a little difficult, but I managed. I did go over this one with a micron pen as well, just to get some of the finer details. It was fun. It was interesting, but these were the acrylic inks that I picked up just at Michael's. I went and grabbed some. They were on sale and I wanted to try them out because I've seen a lot of people using them. So this was just me swatching the colors that I got. That was that trichromatic black that I had used in the other one with the 6 circles. And it reminds me of like cow spots, the way the colors mix, the white, the brown, the black. I thought it was pretty cool. This was another paint palette leftover that I had tried. So the colors that were left over on the paper, so I didn't waste it. I again did some really simple flowers and a vase and used up my paint, and then just did a really quick abstract floral just for fun. So then I decided to try a landscape. I've seen a lot of people that do really beautiful impressionistic loose landscapes, and that was something that I really would love to try. So this was one. I mean, this is small, so I was using small brushes and it wasn't big and you know, big bold strokes or anything, but this was a photo I took when I was in Nova Scotia a couple years ago. It's so beautiful there. But anyways, I did a quick picture. This was actually acrylic paint on this paper. I had masked it out with some tape to get the nice clean line. I think it actually turned out all right. I didn't mind it. For again, a lot of these are the first time I'm doing a lot of this stuff, so I'm pleased with the way it turned out. It's not perfect, but I like it. I think it's nice. So yeah, that was fun. I would do more of these for sure. I'd like to do more big, large landscapes on canvas with acrylic paint. It's something I really need to work at. I'm not good at it, but I really admire the artists that can do large abstract or expressionistic landscapes, because I love them. There's so many nice ones out there. So something I'd like to do more in the future as well. And then I did another example of it, but with really abstract colors and shapes and less detail. I hate the way the clouds turned out. Don't love that. But I like some of the things that are going on in here. Again, my first time trying it. I don't know how these other artists make it look so easy, because it's not for me anyway. I'm not good at letting things be abstract. So that is really one of my goals, is to be looser and more abstract in my art. But as you can see in my next notebook that I show you, or the next sketchbook, that I really always just tend to go right back to doing realistic detail work. But I'm trying, and it's a work in progress, and that's why I'm making these videos, to document like my journey and how I'm getting there and what I'm doing. So, I mean, it was fun to do this. It was a little bit frustrating because I didn't know what I was doing and I didn't know how it was going to turn out, but this is what I got. Here is the flower cart that I showed you the pencil sketch of earlier. And this is where I was painting it in, and I was using my gouache for this one, and then I went over it with the micron pen, just to give it some fine details and kind of clean it up a little bit. And I think it turned out really cute. I like it. I do like doing illustrative work with a little bit of detail, so it tends to be what I keep gravitating to, I find. And then the last page in this book, again, I did another attempt at abstract, and this one is like everything in the kitchen sink. And I just kept adding layer on layer of marks and paints and things But it was, you know what, I had fun with it. I enjoyed it. It's nothing great, but you know, it is what it is. It's a part of the process of making art. So that was my last attempt at acrylic, abstract acrylics, and probably the last one I'll do for a little while, because I have tended to gravitate towards more of an illustrative way of drawing for now. So, but I do want to come back to abstract acrylics on canvas. I do have a whole bunch of canvases that I picked up because Michael's was having a sale. So I went and bought them all. So I have to make some larger paintings now. I mean, they're not huge, but I have to make some canvas paintings at some point. Okay, so here we're going to move on to the next, my smaller mixed media book, and this one's 5.5 by 8.5 inches, and it is 138 pounds paper. And I actually really like this. It's a great little small one. If you want to travel, you can take it with you, and it's a good size. It's to be portable. But I end up doing a lot in here of smaller, just smaller artworks, I guess, when I don't want to do a large page. So here we start off with, this is actually watercolor. I think it's the Gonzi. Yeah, it's the Gonzi 10 by. I actually wrote it down this time. This one I did in June. And my dad had actually sent me a picture of some irises from his backyard, some photos. So I jumped into my sketchbook and decided, let me paint one of those. So I did that. After the fact, it got messed up with when I was doing some other stuff. Somehow this got all the other wet paint that I was using for something else on it. I don't know how I did that, but I messed it up and it got like, I kind of wrecked the page, but it's okay because it was just practice drawing. But I thought it turned out pretty fun. It's a pretty flower. So yeah, that was the first thing I did in this book. And then again with the same Gonzi Tombe watercolors, I just wanted to do a really quick and easy country landscape. I thought it would be fun to just experiment with some colors. And I actually really love how the little hay bales turned out. They're really cute. This one is a cute little rabbit that I made, and this is with my Derwent Inktense pencil crayons that I basically drew out. And this brings me back to my like teenage years where I wanted to be Robert Bateman, and I was making animals with pencil crayons, trying to make like realistic looking animals. And that's kind of, it brought me back to that when I was making this little guy. His head's a weird shape, but it is what it is. I think it's cute. It's not perfect, but I think he's really cute. And it was fun to just use pencil crayons again and do animals again. So definitely like to do more animals in the future. But that was my little bunny bun that I did back in June. These are just some mushrooms. I did a really quick watercolor with, the colors were so amazing. And this is the Gonzi Tombe again. This was really fun. I really liked the way it turned out. I hadn't really done anything like that before. A really quick, very loose watercolor sketch if you want. And I love the way it turned out. I think it's super fun. I hope I can do more of that down the road, but I haven't really. But I like that. I think it turned out really nice. Then again, going back to my ink with mark making on top, just having some more fun with that. Sometimes it's just a very meditative, you don't have to think about it. Something like you can do maybe watching TV at night where you did the colors ahead of time, and then once it's dry, you can sit down on the couch or at your desk or whatever and just do some, just make marks, you know, and get lost in it. And it's kind of fun. It's not something like, it's, you know, it's not earth-shattering new, but it's fun to do. I highly encourage everyone to take some time to do stuff like that just for creativity's sake. This was just another little really rough freehand quick watercolor. What did I use? I think this was a gouache actually that I used. Really quick lady. I was trying to do really abstract, why her neck is so long, and I really did, I think I did a quick outline of the shape of her head kind of thing, and the rest I literally just plopped down color, and also used some pastel on top of it just for kind of mark making fun. It's kind of strange, but I kind of like it, I'm not gonna lie. I think it's kind of neat. I like all the random kind of colors in here, and yeah, I kind of secretly really like that one. Here's the one I mentioned in the other book where you had the three thumbnails that I had done for the ladies, the faceless women, we'll call them. And so this was just like a cozy, moody. I went through a phase, you'll see, where I'm just obsessed with doing loose watercolors of like girls with their hairs in buns and big sweaters. So this was the start of that, and this was just kind of like a moody landscape, cozy, cold kind of thing, and I actually really like it. I don't know if anyone else cares or does, but I actually like it. So just some thumbnails of other ideas for things that I have. Here I'm getting into my bun girls. So loose watercolors. I love the way that this turned out here. This was using the Gansai Tambi watercolors again. I loved it. It was fun. I like doing very loose fashion drawings. That's really fun to me. But I don't like doing faces, so I like doing a lot of girls that are, you can't see their whole face. I just think it's more mysterious that way too, and kind of fun. So I did that one. And then here was the next one I tried, and I just loved the hair and the bun and the big cozy sweater with the big neck. And this green is to die for. I loved it. Like that one. And then another variation, but this was a girl. Her hair is supposed to be tucked into her sweater, and there was like one or two hairs that were being blown out from the wind, but I kept messing it up, so it kept being more and more hair until it got to be this big mess. So, and she was just in a big floppy sweater, and I don't love that part. It didn't turn out as great as I thought it would, but I really liked the concept of it. So I might try another version of this down the road and see what happens. My sister said she really liked this one. But I think because she felt like an emotion to it, of like being that person on the beach with your hair blowing, and you know, I think this one brings up some emotions, even though it's not the best piece of art. But I think that's what art is all about, is how will the person looking at it react? Will they connect with it on an emotional level? Will it make them feel something? Like, that's kind of how I would like to make art. Not just pretty pictures, although it's also fun to make pretty pictures. But yeah, so I was having fun with that. This was using my gouache in a very thick, opaque way, and I wanted to just do a very simple, stylized, like a minimal detail, just a beach scene. I'm not really happy with it. I don't love like the shadows and the sand. Like, I couldn't get a really good sand color, so. But you know, it was a good exercise for me for doing like no details, you know, like a block of sky, a block of water, a block of sand, and then minimal details on the umbrella and the bag. And that's about it. It was just kind of a fun depiction of summer for me. This was another really fast, just inspired to do a really quick abstract watercolor. So I dropped down all the colors first, without even, I don't even think I did a pencil sketch. I think I literally just dropped down color with the watercolor, the Gansai Tambi watercolors, and then I went over it with, I think it was a pencil crayon, to be honest. Yeah, I think it was a dark indigo colored pencil crayon, and I literally just did some mark making on top, and I kind of like it. I think for abstract flowers, I think it turned out pretty cool. You know, you've got the pencil on top and this really neat, nice interplay with the watercolors. I thought it was fun, so I kind of enjoyed that one. here is one of the girls that I showed you the sketch of earlier. And her face is turned away in the reference photo, and I kind of feel like it makes her look like Cousin It a little bit. Like she shouldn't, like she should have a face showing, but she has no face. So I think other than her face, I thought it was kind of fun. Like I did her little sneakers really cute. I like that part. So just again, having fun, experimenting, trying things out. But I was getting really into the fashion sketching again, and I loved when this one, the way that this one turned out. I was very pleased with it. The reference photo I used, she had like blonde hair and a white linen top, but I took my liberties to change it up for myself because I was just using it as a reference. But I, you know, start gravitating towards all the little details. Like I actually even used a silver pen for her bracelet and her buttons, which you probably cannot see. I don't know if you can see it. But I even did that, and I just think sometimes it's those little touches and details that look so fun. Yeah, so I was getting back into fashion illustration, and I was really enjoying that. And then, oh, little butterfly that I was trying to do, a moth, sorry. And these were actually the colors of the photo that I was using as a reference. But I don't love it because I don't like the way the wings look. And doing things symmetrically is also very challenging. But I do like the colors of it. I think the colors are really fun and interesting. But I will do more like moth art down the road. I think I'll experiment a little bit more. I did use pencil crayon over top, and I think I even used some gold gel pen for the gold areas. I don't know if you can see it. This is one of my favorite pieces I've done so far, and on Instagram I think most people like this, seem to like this the best, and this was done in gouache. And I really liked the way it turned out, and like I said, I just ended up going back to doing the detail work that I love doing. I mean, with just enough detail. I think there's a balance of a little bit of abstractness and like simplicity, and then a little bit of detail in just a few places to finish it off. And so I was really happy with this, and probably do more stuff like this down the road. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the process of this kind of work. So I don't know like where I would put this kind of work down the road, if it was something I could, you know, license or get paid to make, freelance, whatever, but I really enjoyed this kind of work. So we'll see what happens. Then I'm starting to get into like food stuff now. I had inspiration to do pineapple. Don't love this pineapple. I don't love this part. I don't mind this part, but I don't like the technique I used to like make the bottom part. And so I think I'm going to experiment with some more pineapples down the road in different styles, and just with different materials, like different paints or pencils or whatever, and see the way that I like making it best. But it was just a first start, so it is what it is. Then I get into some serious food illustration. Here's my artichoke. I love the way this turned out. I think it's fantastic, if I do say so myself. I'm very pleased with it. I did start this one off. I'm gonna do, actually I'll do a short or a reel. I did video the process of me making this one, and I started off with watercolor, with the Gonzi Town by Watercolor as a base. And then I went in and I added my Derwent Inktense pencil crayons on top, and then I used a water brush to activate the Inktense. So it's another layer on top. It gives me the detail that I really like, but it's using watercolor and pencil crayon together, which is amazing. Like I love the way this turned out. I love the style. I love doing food illustrations. I think this is a winner for me, so I'll probably continue to do a whole series of food, which I've done a few more, you'll see in this book. But yeah, this won me over. This combination of watercolor and pencil crayon, and even micron like fine liner, is really something that I really enjoy making art with. This was just a fun thing. I got some new gouache paint and in the tubes, something a little better than the jelly gouache. And so I just tried out a little fun graphic with some lettering. Let your light shine, and I think that was fun. It was kind of fun and bright. It's very outside of my comfort zone to do things this bright and colorful, but I thought, why not? It's all about experimenting. Now this, I loved this, the way it turned out so much. I can't even say, like, I don't know if you can tell from this video, but the quality of the coloring in this, I used literally, all I used in here was the Derwent Inktense pencil crayons. And then I went over the white with some gouache, some white gouache. And I can't even tell you how pleased I am with this. I love this illustration. It's Amantia muscaria is the variety of mushroom or species. I don't know how you say it. But this is all from sketching in the pencil crayon first. Well, I sketched with the pencil, then I took my pencil crayon and I shaded it in. There's actually 2 colors of red in here that I've mixed, and then a couple different colors of brown and ochre. And I just am so pleased with the way this turned out. I love doing these kind of food illustrations with the watercolor pencil crayons and with watercolors, and I'm probably going to continue to do a lot more work in this. It's kind of the one, you know, like I've been showing you this whole process of me trying out different things and then seeing what works for me. And I'm finding out that I'm a lot better with some finer detail illustrations than I am in painting with, you know, acrylics necessarily, like for instance. So it just kind of, you know, you get a reaction to your work once you're done with it, when you've tried different things, and then you kind of continue on with what's working for you. So that's working for me. I really like it. I really like how it turned out and the direction I'm going with it. So I will continue in this direction. So the next day I tried some asparagus. Now I don't love this one as much. I'm not as pleased with the way like some of the detail turned out. I think it's okay. Definitely I don't feel like the quality is as good as the mushrooms or the artichokes, but I'm doing a whole like kind of neat vegetable series that I'm hoping I can use the images on some products down the road, maybe like tea towels or calendars or something. I'm trying to like create some illustration work that I can use yeah, on products of some kind. So that's kind of one of my goals and one of the things I'm thinking of. And I'll do another video on all the like streams of income that artists can make and the things that I'm thinking of and why, just to give people ideas. But I think I'll do that for my next video to kind of give some insight as to my thought process on that. I think that's actually the last thing I did in here. Yeah, another one that's just like a sketch. I might do like a mermaid. I don't know, I was inspired by the Little Mermaid and all that. So that's the last thing in this book, and there's only a couple pages left, and we'll save that for the next video. The only other thing that I did do was I got this really nice toned paper that I wanted to try, and let me see if you can even see this. It's hard to see in this light. All I used was my ink fine liner, I think a 0.2, and I used the white jelly roll, what do you call them? Gel pens. And that's all I used, and I just did a fun little whimsical illustration. I don't even know what it means. Okay, so here's my pile of attempts at acrylic painting. And first, I was just inspired to do some really simple abstract flowers, just to like literally get paint on canvas and do something like to get started. And I did see, I think I don't remember her name, there was someone on YouTube that kind of inspired me. She was doing just loose acrylic flowers like this, so that's kind of where I was inspired to try that. So I tried 2 different versions and it was fun, but I mean, I don't love them. It was just an experiment. It is what it is kind of thing. So that's what I mean where I have a really hard time doing abstract things. It's hard. It's hard for me to let go. I guess maybe I like to be in control. I don't know. I didn't think I was controlling, but this one I really like the way it turned out. This is just on a board, a canvas board. And this is a photo I took of a lavender farm that's not far from me. And I wanted to try to do something, again, like kind of more expressionist, not so detailed. But then what happens is I do end up getting detailed, like in the top in the trees and in the lavender. I do it, I just go there. That's where I end up. I end up in the detail work. I just can't help myself. It's fun. I like the way this turned out. I especially love the top half. Kind of cut it off here. I really like the top half of it. So, you know what? That one turned out all right. And this was just, I had 3 boards and I tried to do abstract stuff on them and I did not. They look like crap, like a big pile of brown paint, muddy mess. So I painted over the boards. I think that was one of them. This was another one I just painted over. You can see there was like marks underneath from when I just did abstract. I painted over the original abstract piece because they were just so horrible. I couldn't even show anyone. I didn't want to look at it. So my whole point is my plan is to make another painting on top of this, similar to this. Now this one, I loved how this turned out. This one had a really dark green background. I had just done like this, but a really dark greeny teal color. And what I did was I painted some abstract flowers and a vase on it, and then I overpainted the background around it, which I've seen people do as a technique, and I really like the way that turned out. So that's something I might try more of. I don't love the way the table is. Again, I was trying to control the paint, I think, too much. And this is neat because you can see all of the texture underneath of the painting that I painted over with all the abstract stuff underneath. But I really enjoyed the way that turned out, and I'm going to try to do another abstract flower on the other one and see how that turns out. But this one, yeah, that was like the first time where I did anything in acrylic that I remotely even liked. We'll see what happens down the road. And then this was the last one. Again, I was trying to do the acrylic. Abstract like roses and floral, but then I get into my head and I start trying to do like detail stuff like stupid shadows. I don't love the background in this. What I might do with this one is this idea, like go over the background and stuff again with this concept of painting the background in and around it to get that kind of look. So I might do that. But yeah, that's the only other thing I did. So that's it for all of the artwork that I've done in the last 3 months. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that little sketchbook tour / what have I done in the last 3 months on my art journey. It was kind of fun to go through it all and talk about it. I know I love looking at other people's sketchbooks, no matter what stage people are at. I think it's always fun and fascinating. Being vulnerable is hard, but if you don't try it, then you'll never get anywhere, right? So anyways, that's that. I hope you enjoyed that. I'm going to, I think, try on my next video to talk a little more about art business and the different streams of income that artists and creatives can utilize to make a living from their art. And I'm excited to talk about that because it's something I'm also very passionate about, and I want to be able to help other people as well. So stay tuned for that video. I'll try to get that one out as soon as possible. And in the meantime, stay creative, experiment, and just keep dreaming. And we'll talk to you soon. Take care. Thanks. Bye.